Lesson 6, Inspection and Maintenance. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify when the forklift must be inspected, identify which equipment must be inspected, and correct procedure for the inspection of each item. Recognize how to resolve equipment problems. Identify the precautions that must be taken to avoid refueling hazards associated with battery, propane, and gasoline or diesel forklifts. List the required steps for refueling battery, propane, and gasoline or diesel-powered forklifts. Forklift inspection. A pre-operation inspection is now required under OSHA guidelines. When performed on a daily basis, these checks will improve safety and increase productivity. Before the start of each work shift, the operator must perform a daily inspection on the lift truck. The daily inspection is a two-part checking routine, which includes a visual inspection and an operating inspection. After the daily inspection, any routine maintenance must be performed. During the visual examination, the items to be inspected include the following. Operator manual. Check if all the proper decals are on the truck. Check if the operator's manual is on the truck. Load chart. Check if the data plate is in place on the truck. Check if the truck has been modified, and if the data plate is current. Check if the data plate is damaged or unreadable. Sheet metal. Check if there are any covers or sheet metal missing, cracked, broken, or deformed. Check if the latching devices are working properly. Overhead guard. Check if the overhead guard or its legs are bent or cracked. Check if all the fasteners are secure. Tires and wheels. Check if large pieces of tire are missing. Check if lug bolts are missing or loose. Check if wheel hubs are damaged. Check if tires are inflated properly. Fluid levels. Check if all fluids are at the proper level. Check if lubrication has been applied on schedule. Drive axle. Check if the drive axle is leaking. Forks. Check if the forks are bent, cracked, or worn. Check if the fork stops are in place. Check if the fork locks work correctly. Load backrest. Check if the load backrest is twisted, bent, or cracked. Check if the mounting bolts are secure. Hydraulic oil. Check if the oil is filled to the proper level. Check if the oil is clean and clear. Check if there are any visible leaks. Check if there are any drips beneath the truck. Engine oil. Check if the oil is filled to the proper level. Check if there are any visible leaks. Check if there are any drips beneath the truck. Cooling system. Check if the radiator is filled to the proper level. Check if there are any leaks from hoses, the water pump, radiator, or engine. Check if there are any puddles beneath the truck. Check if the hose clamp and fan belts are tight. Check if the fan belt is worn or cracked. Battery and connector. Check if the connectors are tight and free of corrosion. Check if the battery electrolyte is at the proper level. Check if the hold down is secure. Operating equipment. During the operating equipment inspection, the following will be evaluated. Seat. Check if the frame is cracked. Check if the cushions are properly attached to the frame. Restraint system. Check if there is an operator restraint system in place and does its functioning. Check if the seatbelt or harness is worn. Check if the latching device lock and unlock properly. Check if the truck has a tether and it operates properly. Check if the tether is frayed or cracked. Horn. Check if the horn functions properly. Gauges and instruments. Check if all the gauges work. Check if any of the gauge lenses are cracked or clouded. Check if all indicator lights illuminate when the key switch is in the on position. Battery test. Check if the indicator shows full charge after the battery is replaced. Accelerator. Check if the accelerator operates smoothly. Control levers. Check if the levers move smoothly. Check if each function activates properly when the control lever is operated. Check if the levers return to their centered position properly. Directional controls. Check if the directional controls move smoothly. Check if the direction becomes active when selected and does the truck move in that direction. Check if the control returns to its centered position properly. Drive axle. Check if there are any unusual noises coming from the axle when the truck is moving. Steering. Check if the steering wheel and steer axle turn smoothly, lock to lock. Check the steering bind. Check if there are any unusual noises while steering. Head, tail lights. Check if all lights illuminate when turned on. Check if any bulbs are dim or burned out. Warning lights. Check if all warning lights illuminate properly. Backup alarm. Check if the alarm sounds when the truck is put in reverse. Brakes. Check if the brake pedal is high and firm when applied. Check if the pedal slowly sinks down when pressure is applied for a 10-second period. Service brakes. Check if the service brake holds the truck in place when applied. Check if the service brake is set to the manufacturer's specifications. Parking brakes. Check if the parking brake holds the truck in place when applied. Check if the parking brake is set to the manufacturer's specifications. Seat brakes. Check if the seat brake holds the truck in place when applied. Check if the seat brake is adjusted properly. Mast. Check if the mast moves up and down smoothly. Check if there is any visual damage to the channels. Check if any of the rollers are cracked or non-moving. Check if the mast sinks back down. Check if there are any frayed or cracked hoses. Check if there is any hydraulic oil leaking anywhere. Tilt. Check if the mast tilts back and forth smoothly. Check if the mast drifts forward or backwards. Check if any cylinders are leaking. Check if all retainer pins are in place. Carriage. Check if the carriage bars are bent. Check if the notches on the top of the carriage are worn. Check if the fork locks are in place. Check if the carriage is loose in the channels. Check if the carriage leans as it goes up or down. Check if any rollers are missing. Check if the rollers all move smoothly inside the mast channels. Check if the chains are attached properly. Check if the chains are lubricated. Check if the chains are rusty. Check if the chain tension is even. Check if there is excessive play in the chain when it is lowered. Check if the attachment performs properly. Check if the attachment is mounted securely to the carriage. Check if the attachment is damaged. Resolving equipment problems. If at any time a lift truck is found to be defective, in need of repair, or unsafe, the truck must be taken out of service. Your supervisor should be notified immediately and made aware of the items that failed inspection. Once the problems have been corrected and the truck has been restored to a safe condition, it can be put back to work. Precautions while refueling gasoline and diesel engines. Individuals who refuel lift trucks must be properly trained for the type of fuel in the truck being used. Refueling should take place in a well-ventilated area following set procedures and general safety rules. Never refuel near sparking equipment or high heat sources. Never smoke while refueling. Know the location of the nearest fire safety equipment and how to use it. Steps to refuel gasoline or diesel engines. Park the truck in the designated refueling area before gasoline or diesel refueling. Place the directional control in neutral and engage the parking brake. Lower the forks to the ground and angle the tips down. Turn the key switch to the off position before refueling. Do not add fuel to an overheated truck. Be sure to use the correct fuel for the truck. Fill the tank slowly to avoid overfilling. If any fuel is spilled, wash down the area with water. If any leaks are detected in the fuel system, do not operate the truck until the problem has been corrected. Precautions while refueling liquid petroleum gas engines. In the lift truck industry, liquefied petroleum gas, or LPG, has become a very common fuel for internal combustion lift trucks. Here are the precautions to be taken before refueling a truck with LPG. Park the truck in the designated refueling area before refueling. Place the directional control in neutral and engage the parking brake. Lower the forks to the ground and angle the tips down. Leave the engine running. Close the service valve mounted on the LP bottle. Allow the truck to run until the engine is out of fuel and quits. Turn the key switch off. Try to restart your truck. If the truck starts and runs, all the fuel has not cleared out of the lines. You must wear protective clothing before changing an LP bottle, including long sleeves, gauntlet gloves, and eye protection. Steps to refuel LPG engines. After all the fuel is cleared from the lines and the truck fails to restart, follow these steps to refuel an LPG engine. Uncouple the hose from the service valve. Unlatch the restraint bracket that holds the bottle in place on the truck and remove the bottle. Note that LP gas bottles must be stored in an approved outside area with the service valve in the off position. Reverse the procedure with a full bottle and reinstall it onto the truck. Check the new bottle for any damage like dents or nicks and make sure that the service valve is in the off position. Position the LP bottle over the locator pin and relatch the restraint brackets. After reattaching the LP hose to the service valve, slowly open the valve. Do not open the valve too quickly. This will cause the back pressure relief valve to shut off the fuel supply. Note: if this occurs, close the service valve for 5 seconds and then slowly reopen the valve. As the valve is being opened, pay attention for the smell of LP gas. Close the valve immediately if you smell any gas and remove the bottle. Mark or tag the faulty bottle and replace it with another good bottle. Precautions during battery maintenance. Before any battery maintenance is performed, you need to put on the appropriate protective equipment. This gear consists of eye or face protection, rubber gloves, long sleeves, and an apron. Battery acid is highly corrosive and can cause severe burns to the eyes and skin. If you come in contact with acid, go to the nearest wash station immediately and run water over the area for at least 15 minutes. Then seek medical attention. When it becomes necessary to remove a battery, make sure that you use the proper equipment. Place the battery connector on top of the battery that needs to be moved. Lift truck batteries often weigh thousands of pounds and can cause serious injuries if handled improperly. Before moving the battery, make sure that it is properly secured and positioned. Use caution when closing the battery cover. Steps to charge batteries. Charging a battery in an electric power truck is very different from the routine of refueling an internal combustion engine truck. Once the battery has been depleted, follow these steps to charge the battery. Park the lift truck in the designated charging area. This well-ventilated area should be free from sparks and high heat sources. Note: the top of the battery must not come in contact with any metal objects or electrical shorts can occur. Place the directional control in neutral and engage the parking brake. Lower the forks to the ground and angle the tips down. Turn the key switch to the off position. Open the battery compartment fully and allow hydrogen gas to vent off and heat buildup to subside. Check the battery charger and make sure it is set in the off position. Disconnect the battery connector from the truck and attach it to the connector on the battery charger. Note: never plug the connector on the battery charger into the connector mounted on the truck. This can severely damage the lift truck. Inspect the cables and connector on the battery for any damage. If there is no damage, turn on the charger and follow the manufacturer's charging instructions.